Hey, what's up, everybody? Video 44 coming at you another video. All right, so I'm doing some art right here, listening to Trevor Lane, trying to keep my mind on positive things. And I have figured something out that I wouldn't mind for the Los Angeles Lakers to try to take a look at. $14 million worth of center from Milwaukee, a guy by the name of Brook Lopez, who played with the Lakers before he went to Milwaukee, as we all remember. I think he would be a very good piece to have on this team. Now, when we had Brook Lopez, that was before we got Anthony Davis. I think it was like maybe the first year we had Bron. I don't even remember if Bron was here or not yet that year. But Brook Lopez stretched the floor very well for us, scored the ball regularly, was pretty clutch, did not rebound the ball very well. But since he was so big, he would win rebounding situations at times. But the point is you don't need him to be the overly aggressive rebounder because we'll have guys like Bron and AD who will help rebounding. So his deficiency rebounding the ball will not be as glaring with us, just like it's not next to Giannis and Portis. So these are the things that I'm looking at in regards to the type of piece that I want to bring to the Lakers. We need to consider moving AD back to the four and bringing a piece to him that makes it so that he doesn't look deficient playing the four, because we know with the way that we had the team set up, him playing the four didn't have us at our best. But if we can delegate him to more power forward duties, I think he would have a much more happy time just in general trying to play the game. Less banging is best for him. We can still slot him at the five here and there where necessary, but we want to have the option to allow him to play the four as much as possible. And I think Brook Lopez seems to me to be a pretty good player to have in that place. I don't know if it's the best fit based on the speed. I think we'd be a significantly slower team in theory. But Brook Lopez tends to help you in areas that you don't expect. He doesn't run the floor as well as you think, but he stretches the floor so fantastically well and can block shots with the best of them. So rim protection and three-point shooting immediately get fixed in that situation. And he's somebody from Los Angeles. Like I said, he's played for the Lakers, an NBA champion with the Bucks. He's already made a bunch of money with the Nets. So he's lived his career and accomplished all you want to see him accomplish. And at this point, it's just about him continuing his career. And I think that he's rekindled his career in a major way in Milwaukee. After having a pretty solid season with us, but he really got back to standard and had a very good season last year and a good season before that too. So he's coming off of that, those two good seasons, and I wouldn't mind having him back with the LA Lakers with respects to his limitations, which are rebounding and speed. So I would love for us to bring Brook Lopez in. I don't want to be overly reliant upon Brook Lopez. There are going to be situations where he's not going to fit as much because of that speed issue, but the rim protection is such a problem for the Lakers. Without Anthony Davis, he would take care of that in some areas, allowing us to have rim protection without AD on the floor. And then, like I said, the three-point shooting is uncanny. The man has just turned into one of the best three-point shooters at the center position in the game after starting his career, making several all-star teams without even shooting threes. So that can tell you how unique of a talent this is. And I still think he has plenty left in the tank, based than what I just saw in these last two seasons. So I'm high on Brook Lopez coming back to the Lakers. If we want to do something with that $14 million that isn't given to a guy who struggled like D'Lo, I just don't think we need to go that route, even though I know it makes a lot of sense for a lot of people to try to sign him, especially if he wants to go for under $20 million. Trevor Lane said that's a pretty good deal for D'Lo if we can pull it off. I don't think it's likely you get him for under 20 mil. But you are definitely likely to let him walk and then bring in a player like Brook Lopez, who helps you in an entirely different way, but probably overall will make your team a little better than it is right now, in my humble opinion. So that's what I'm looking at there. Brook Lopez is a good, solid piece to bring in. I don't know when regression will begin since he's a bit older, coming into becoming a bit older. But like I said, with the strengths that he has, he will help this team for sure. And at the price that he's at, I think he'll live up to that price so long as you respect those limitations. And so that's really my thought there. I'm trying to psych myself into remembering what it is that D'Lo can bring to the table when healthy, and the fact that he wasn't healthy is a big deal. And nothing's being said of his health anywhere when assessing his play. And I think I'm the only person that continues to bring it up consistently, his calluses. But I won't allow it to escape any of our minds. He was playing at half mass out there with those feet. And if he had 100% of himself out there, I think we would have saw a much better D'Lo. But nevertheless, you have to wonder how much of what we saw was not callus related and was just him not showing up and playing well. One will never really be able to say. But all in all, I'm on board with moving on there. Half a season and not being able to play him in the Western Conference Finals really told the story for me. If I'm going to invest in a guy for multiple years, I need to be able to use him for what it is I need him for. Now, if I'm bringing D'Lo to me, I already told you guys I want to see him as as a shooter. I don't necessarily need him to be my point guard. I think he's a shooting guard that can do point guard things, and that makes him somebody who I can use on my team a bit more than normal shooting guards, because I know for a fact that even though he's not going to play the greatest defense, he'll make up for that by being able to do more combo things amongst those two positions than most players. So that's what you like about D'Lo, and you can see a world where he gets back to playing very well. We just talked about a guy, Brook Lopez, who didn't play his greatest ball with the Lakers, even though he had a pretty solid season. We didn't have a good year as a winning team. I think we won like 35 games that year. So it's one of those situations where he left here, found himself in a championship situation, stayed there for a couple of years, and ended up being glorious and having fantastic seasons there. So given the fact that Darvin Ham obviously is familiar with him, given the fact that they won the championship together in Milwaukee, with Darvin being an assistant coach, I think a reunion there wouldn't be the worst thing in the world for our team as well. That's another reason to look at that. So I just think the Lakers are in a position to simultaneously take care of a couple of things if they pull in a piece like that. I think that's what they had in mind when they brought in Mo Bamba. We were hoping that he would somehow be that type of piece who could stretch the floor and block some shots. And so if you still have that in mind, you can let Bamba go and then bring in that's $10 million right there that Bamba's supposed to be taking. And see, these are another things. It's like, so Bamba's supposed to be an option for the team at $10 million. Beasley's an option to the team at like $16 million or something like that. I'm not sure, forgive me on the numbers, but like that's not something I want to do. If I'm the team, I'd rather have the cap space and to keep those players at those prices. So these are things I'm like, all right, if we can sure that up, that should be $20 million right there, 26 million, whatever it is. That should be plenty of money right there without having anybody exit other than those two. So decline those options and let's keep that money. Period. There ain't nothing to talk about. That's easy money. If that is as I said it is. So take my word as somebody who's just thinking about stuff and hearing others people talk about it. So that's really what it is. I want to improve on our wing as well. I think the 17th overall pick is something that we can use to either draft or trade, and I'm not mad at the Lakers either way, really. I want to draft a player, but also look in that range, and I say we might end up having to either reach for a guy that fits what we want or end up missing out on a guy that we actually want because he goes a little earlier than 17. So if that ends up being the case and we're stuck in no man's land with 17 as to where the player we love the most is probably like at 27 or something like that, you trade the pick. Trade the pick. Because I heard somebody mention something along the lines of, as I was watching one of the Laker videos, they were saying, oh, certain player, he's really, really good. He's available. I don't remember his name. Some random player. And they were saying he's going to be available at 17. It's like, yeah, but if you look at the consensus, you compare the different mock drafts, he's not supposed to go into the 30s. He's not supposed to go into the early second round. So if we waste a 17th pick on a guy like that, we may be very happy we did. He may actually be as good as we think he is, but we also know we could have traded down, still had him, and kept the value. So it's like we got to do that. Respect the consensus within general. Yeah, especially when you get to the 20s and the 25s, it can kind of be stuck together in a way. There's not a whole lot of difference between 19 and 32 sometimes. But nevertheless, you want to kind of respect those mock drafts so that you can get the most from your pick before you draft it. So I want us to trade down. If we find ourselves in love with a player that's in the mid-20s and we're stuck at 17, trade down, bro. Or get out of that range and just forget about the draft entirely and bring us something that could really help us. That's what I got to say, because 17 is a good spot, but it could potentially be a, damn, I just missed out on my guy spot. That's what 17 looks like to me. So it'll be some quality there most definitely, but not maybe the guy you would want. So that's just how I'm looking at it. I think the Lakers would much rather be in the 13-12 range to be certain that they get the piece that they would love to bring to their situation. But nevertheless, the option's there to keep the pick, and hopefully we'll do something good with it to bring ourselves the best stuff we can bring. Max Christie. Now, see, Max Christie is a player who's the Lakers have the option of matching. I didn't know that they had signed him to some type of deal that would allow him to be a restricted free agent this year, but he is. Bringing him back is a no-brainer. I don't think anybody's going to offer him anything, so we should be fine. Do I have that wrong? No, that's actually Scottie Pippen. That's Scottie Pippen. Forgive me, not Max Christie. Scottie Pippen. Reapply that thought to Scottie. So it's going to be interesting to see if we actually have any opportunity to bring a player like that back, of whom has a name like Scottie Pippen. The name. People know what he can do based on what he did in college in the South Bay Lakers. And then now it's like, you could kind of, while the Lakers are trying to scramble around and get bigger pieces, you could probably sneak a way to take that kid away from the Lakers while everybody's focused on all the other stuff. So that's the thing that the Lakers need to be aware of, that we do have some really exciting pieces in our G League and in our on the back of the bench that may actually get snatched from us. Like, put it like this, and I ain't speaking nothing to existence because I'm a Laker fan. But if I'm the Clippers, I'm throwing something to Scottie Pippen. I need a point guard. If I'm the Suns, I'm throwing something to Scottie Pippen, and we'll see if you match it. You know what I mean? Because that's what it is, and I can develop that player from scratch, snatch him from the Lakers while they're trying to figure out how to keep Max Christie and Rui and all these guys, Austin, guys they really have their eye on, that they're not even paying attention to a guy like Scottie Pippen. So these are the type of things I want the Lakers to get right. Let's make sure that our kids, if we draft anybody in this, at the 43 range or whatever the pick is, make sure we get them on a contract that makes a lot of sense so that we can have less headaches and less people like me looking at players on the back of the bench like, yo, I can take him from you while you're not even paying attention. Because that's exactly the type of GM I would be. So I just want us to be sharp in whatever we're going to do going forward. And, of course, I have faith in Rob Pelinka at this point because he did a lot of good at the trade deadline last year. So, I'm just throwing things out there. I'm pretty sure he has something even better in mind. And I'm excited to see what it is. I just don't want us to take any steps backwards with our depth. I think becoming shallow in response to the Miami Heat and the Denver Nuggets is something that I've given a lot of thought to. Maybe you want to do that. Just say forget all the guys on the back of the bench and just try to turn 2 into 1, 3 into 1, and get yourself a really top-heavy super team with 8 guys, and you hope they stay healthy. All that stuff we already said. That hope you stay healthy part, given the fact that we've had so many problems with injuries over the last 10 years as a Laker organization, I do not want to play around with that. That maybe stay healthy crap is something we need to guard against. Let's other organizations do that, while we still keep a balance of understanding how important it is to have backups that can keep our guys healthy. The more talented and more capable those backups are, the better they fit, the better combinations of rotations that you can fit more of them in, all right, the better your team is ultimately going to be. Because that's also part of having depth, too. It ain't as simple as having good players. They got to be good players that fit with one another. And then to have, them be able to slip and seamlessly come in and out of the rotation. If you got one-man bands or one-trick ponies or anything of that one stuff, you're probably not going to get what you need in regards to being able to utilize all of those guys enough at a time. So even if you trust them enough to play them, they don't fit, so you won't. And it won't turn into you having depth because you won't use them. So that's also part of it, making sure they're interchangeable of like height, even though the Lakers are dying to get a guy like Trae Young, which kind of is an anomaly, given the fact that he's going to play bigger than he is no matter what. He's a superstar. But other than that, you probably don't want a guy that height, period, on no level, unless he's super. And even as a superstar, you got to know if you invest in a guy with like 6 feet tall, you understand that there's going to be some things you have to bring to him, as we've already discussed in previous videos. If you don't have those rebounders and those shot blockers, he's just going to be a little guy out there shooting shots and not winning basketball games. So we don't want to turn ourselves into that type of team at all. Now, a lot of people also are mentioning Anthony Davis. As we've always said, there's going to be people who are going to see the fruit and moving on from Anthony Davis this season based on everything that has happened over the last 5 years. It's probably just a good time for some to cut bait and try to get the most value for him before it goes another direction. But for me, it's just like I'm looking at the landscape in the NBA, and I know the 9 out of 10 teams are not going to trade you big for big in this situation. They're going to want to bring AD to you, and they're going to want to give you a guard. They're going to give you a forward. And the Lakers seem like they would be fine with that. That is a huge mistake. That's a huge mistake. I love what the guard position can do, but at the end of the day, I need boards, I need rebounds, block shots, I need easy buckets. And if you're going to trade an Anthony Davis for a Jaylen Brown, you do understand that you're going to lose the size necessary, and now you're going to need it. You got to have a little Jaylen Brown. You got to have LeBron James. They're going to be driving, but you're not going to have no rim protection on the side, and you're going to be getting outboarded, and there's going to be some frustrated superstars. So what you need, once again, is to find that big. You don't want to turn into Dallas. You see what they're trying to do. They're trading whatever they have, try to get Ayton or something like that. You don't want to do that. If you have a big, you swap him for a big. You don't let nobody dupe you out of the size that you're giving up just because the other player, who happens to be half his height, is the same cachet or maybe even better. Better doesn't translate to what you need. You got to have what that person gives you, which is rebounding, block shots, and easy buckets. And so if we're not getting rebounds, block shots, and easy buckets for what's going out, then chances are we're going to be worse for it. And you could try to find other ways of finding that center position, but you're not going to be as good defensively without Anthony Davis, because ain't nobody better defensively than Anthony Davis. So that's really what it comes down to. I'm not sending AD out because even though he has motor issues and health issues and all this other stuff, at the end of the day, if he can give me a nice offseason where he's working out fine and he's dedicated to his fitness, healing from the foot and all that good stuff, if he comes in shape, I don't have too many questions about Anthony Davis giving me a good season this year. But if he's not coming in shape, or if he's going to be out for half the season with the ankle, then obviously I'd love to cut bait, but probably won't be able to, or foot rather. So that's what it is for me, is what type of dedication is Anthony coming in. And in year 11, is he going to come in a lesser version of what he was this year? If that's the case, yeah, moving on from him makes sense to me, because he's not going to stay healthy. But if he's going to be a highly conditioned athlete like he looked, in a lot of points of this season after coming back from the injury, then we know he's the best defensive player out there, and you're probably not going to replace him by trading him for somebody of his cachet. You're not placing him. So that's really what it comes down to. You want to trade him for Zach LaVine, you're going to be stupid for that, because Zach is a guard who doesn't defend, and you're trading out the best rim protector out there for yourself. So it's like, these are the type of things, like, it's not as simple as like, okay, trade me a star for star. Give me Kyrie for KD, for AD. No, because even though Kyrie's going to do his thing at his level, he's going to also need AD to block shots, and you send him out. It's the same thing that they did when they sent the Brooklyn Nets the package they did for Kyrie. Now they need what it is they sent out, and they brought themselves Kyrie, who now needs that stuff. So you don't want to do that. Trade a big for big, keep the size in place, and respect the fact that you have a big, and it's not the same as bringing in a small, even if he is as talented. Absolutely not. You know what I mean? It just is what it is, man. I don't know that I would have traded. And if 96 were to come back around, 1996 come back around, and somebody told me I could trade early Shaq for Michael Jordan, I would say, no, Mike, I'm keeping Shaq. Why? Because I'm not trading a big for a guard. I'm not doing it. So don't think that's limited to anybody. I'm doing that all across the board. You know, if the big is as good as the guard, the big stays the guard. Go. That's it. That's how it got to be for me in this situation, especially. With us being the Lakers and known for having centers and stuff like that, we ain't doing that. So that's what I got to say, man. If we're doing what we're supposed to do, we're going to keep size in place and we're going to respect it. And if our coach doesn't want to play size, then we'll replace him. Because you need size in this league, whether you know it or not. That league garbage is the past. We stopped doing that about 4 years ago. So that's what I got to say, man. If you're not getting yourselves the forwards and the centers and the size and the rim protection that you need, then you're going to fall to teams that have it. That's it. So that's why I want us to go ahead and get us some more rim protection. Maybe draft a center if that's what it's going to be, something like that. But get us some size that this guy will trust. So that's my thought, man. That's really where I'm at with it. I don't want to trade Anthony Davis for anything right now, unless it's Wembanyama or something like that. You know what I mean? Like that's what I'm trading Anthony for. Somebody who can block the same amount of shots as he can, get the same amount of scoring as he can go for. So Evan Mobley. So like, I'm not trading Anthony Davis for nothing that ain't him. That's it. Joel Embiid, and even Joel, when it comes to a certain extent, I don't like Joel's conditioning. His motor, he be looking tired by the end of the season. I don't know how much that has to do with them using him too much. I don't know how much that has to do with him wanting the MVP too much, all that. But he don't seem like he have enough gas in the tank in the finals or in the Western Conference Finals, where he never get over the hump, or it's never enough, or he's sick or something. I don't want to have nothing to do with that if I'm the Lakers, to be completely honest with you. In place of Anthony Davis and all his problems, I'll keep the guy I got. I just wanted to make that very clear, because I've been giving some thought about whether or not I would trade Joel Embiid for Anthony Davis. I'm not. Joel Embiid moved too damn slow, and he hasn't proven it, and AD has, and that's the difference for me. It's not about who's a better player. It's about, when it really comes down to it, is Joel Embiid as good a defender as they say he is? No, he's not. He played more the other side, the scoring side, than anywhere else. And he likes to play like Kobe. He wants to be a 7-foot Kobe, and that's a wonderful thing, but I want you to be more like Shaq. So I'm going to have him here, and I'm going to want him to dunk. He's going to be shooting threes, and I'm going to be killing him on this channel. So I'd rather have Anthony Davis, of whom I know is going to play defense, who I've had for the last 5 years, who's already going to be going up in the rafters. I already know he's my guy. Joel, he come and go. His motivation, it seems like singular as it pertains to give me my MVP, championship second. I don't want nothing to do with that. Because when he get here, we're going to be like, look, we don't care about your individual accolades. We just had LeBron James. We don't care nothing about individual accolades, sir. You're going to have to come here and dominate the Western Conference and have enough in the tank to dominate the East, too. And if you can't do that, you're the wrong guy for us. So that's what I think about Joel. That's exactly what I think of Joel. I have my questions about whether or not he gonna be there in the end. The regular season, he gonna eat because it matters. But in the end, and I ain't like that. I don't like that. So that's how I feel about that. So yeah, man. And that's really what I have to say. So I'm high on Anthony Davis. I'm bringing him back if I have a choice, and I'm crossing my fingers that we don't have any setbacks with the surgery on his foot or a bad off season that will make me regret having him. But again, even if he does have a bad off season, it then becomes a situation where nobody wants to trade for him, so I can't trade him. So I'm not gonna feel bad about it. So that's really what it is, man. Move forward with Anthony Davis. Bring him another center to work with him. Preferably somebody who's not going to take away from him, but just does the things that he does not do, like Brook Lopez may be able to do. I think that's the way to go. Should the Lakers be in play for Ayton? High conditioned center to match next to AD probably clogs the lane. Neither one of them shoot the three well enough. Probably not. Just gave that some thought. So that's where my head is, man. I want us to improve our center position. Make it somebody who can shoot the ball. I don't particularly think AD and Joel can't play together, but there's no way you're going to make that happen. So we won't even dream of such things. But I don't think that would be the worst pairing in the world in terms of centers. When you think about what Rudy and Karl are doing, AD and Joel would be better than those two. I don't think I'm saying anything when I say that. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say, man. Maybe that is the idea. Maybe you do need to start doing that if you're the NBA. Maybe you do want to pair the two centers together because that might be where it's headed. So I don't know, man. I don't know. Y'all systems better start incorporating these big guys back into it though, because if y'all keep thinking it's a guards league, you're gonna be dominated. I see you coming. So that's what I gotta say. My name is BDF44. I thank you all for watching.